going to be the Kara Vespyr control mid-rangey deck against a Vitruvian. So we're just going to start off with, they're going to start off with an obelisk in the center of the board, and we're going to just trade in our aspect of the fox because it's not really good on early game creatures because they're usually smaller than the 3/3, so it's not as effective. We're just going to silence, or excuse me, dispel the obelisk just so it can't control the center of the board, and so we kind of seize the tempo with our 2/3. We're going to get Tiger down, and he's going to use the first wish to make it survive, which is normally a little bit of an issue, but since we can just trade it off with our general, we're really just trading damage to the face, which isn't usually a big deal, except against aggressive decks, and I don't think this Vitruvian is that aggressive that the 4 damage is going to be a huge loss, so we trade it back just to seize the board back and just play the 3/4. Even though it's not infiltrated, it's still a good board presence, although it gets killed off rather quickly with the Falchius. So we're up against a 2/3 and a 2/2 and a 3/3, and we don't really have a good way to clear because we can't get to the mana tile and use Dancing Blades in front of Falchius. So we're going to use our Bloodborne spell for the first time, and then we'll have access to Bone Chill Barrier, making 3 1/3s, as well as the ability to summon the War Master as a 3/4, which will allow it to trade with the Falchius. We're just trying to get control of the board again, and these 1/3s will just kind of seize the middle and make it hard for them to maneuver around us. So a Pax and Obelisk will give them a lot of dervishes if we don't deal with these quickly. So they're going to trade into our War Leader, the War Master, and clear that off the board. So now we just want to play our Dancing Blades, and this is exactly what Dancing Blades is for, to get you a board presence while removing some of their own. So this is why we play it. Now we have board control. Their Pack's going to suicide in, and they'll get the 2/2s, and we'll try to clear those off between the Dancing Blades and the General. And they'll summon another Pax, which we have a Silence for, excuse me, Dispel, sorry about that. We have a Dispel for, and that's really going to just help us not let this snowball too far to control. And here's the Whisper of the Sands. That's why you want to clear the obelisks if you have the ability to for free, if you don't need to attack anything else. Clear it off. The Whisper of the Sands doesn't do a ton here. It probably just cycled to draw a card for them. So here what we're going to want to do is try to clear all these dervishes. We want to protect ourselves from Inner Oasis or any of the wish spells. Just make it so they have as few bodies on board as possible. That's just how we're going to control the game. So we're using a Chromatic Hold on the Pax just to prevent its ability from popping. We wouldn't mind if it attacked into us for 2 damage, but allowing it to pop out 2 more dervishes just makes it hard to control the board. Because we're a deck that doesn't play a lot of minions, so every additional body requires an attack, and it's difficult for us to throw around that many attacks. So it's important to keep the number of enemy minions low if we can. So now we have a pretty decent board with 2 Dancing Blades and 3 walls, compared to just a dispelled obelisk. They have more cards in their hand. They have 3 cards to our 2, but as they try to answer our threats, the card count will even out a little bit. So at the end of their turn, they have 3 cards, and we still have the 2. But Cryogenesis is great because we get that draw off it. So right here, we're just going to play the Cryogenesis and draw the Vespyr off of it, and then just play the Grincher. And right here is, I'm not sure if it's a mistake. I choose not to attack into the enemy general with the 4/2 because my thought is that I'd rather use it to attack into an enemy minion, and if they decide that they want to make that trade, that they don't want me to be able to attack in a minion, they have to stay put, which I think is better for me because it prevents them from getting too far away from my walls, which still help control a little bit of the board, and because they're still surrounded in a pretty threatening position because I have the 5 damage plus the 2 plus possible 4 in hand that they don't know about. So I choose not to attack. I could have put them to 16 and traded it off, but I don't do that, and I think I get a little bit punished here for it because they're able to play a Fireblaze Obelisk and a Star's Fury, which is very good against the walls. Now, I believe they could have played this a little bit better had they attacked the wall here with this dervish and then run this through to kill my Grincher right here. But I believe they choose not to do that. They just end up killing off all my walls. So I think we got away with one and were able to do a little extra damage to our opponent's general. Here we're just going to play out our hand. We want to dispel, sorry about that, dispel this obelisk. So we're going to just play out all our minions and our weapon. And now I think is when we want to turn on the aggression. We don't have any cards in hand, so we're potentially getting outvalued if the game goes on too much longer and if we have a big swingy effect from the enemy general. So we're out of silences, we're out of answers. We don't play with Pulsar Beast, so an Amaria healer could be a big deal. But if they play a healer now and we draw something strong, we could finish them off. So we're just going to attack them down to 9 and put them with lethal on board. But they do a decent job of clearing. We do draw the tiger, so we're in a decent position. Right here I make a pretty big mistake because I need to attack with my tiger. So what I should do is summon it right here before I attack, and then after I attack move up and finish him off. But he ends up conceding anyways. I don't know if he knew what my hand was. My plan was to attack down this minion and then attack face and try not to die for one turn, knowing that I could finish him off with the 2 damage. But I guess he didn't like his hand and decides to concede. I think he may have had a decent shot at winning, but we got away with one and we won the game despite our play mistake. So that was the first game. We'll have one more coming up.